Ready Check Radio. What's up, Internet? It's Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. That means here on Ready Check Radio, it's time for the Relic Grind, our Final Fantasy XIV Square Enix podcast. Hanging out, doing some stuff, talking about some stuff, playing some stuff. I'm your host, Mike Byrne, as always. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're live, twitch.tv / Ready Check Radio. If you're watching on YouTube, listening on Audible, Spotify, any of the platforms, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Give it a like, a subscribe, turn thumbs up, turn on those notifications, all that good stuff. Feed the algorithms. But most importantly, if you like what you see here, tell a friend. Stop by, hang out live, and chat with us. Joining me to go over all kinds of fun Dawntrail and other stuff, Mr. Chris Montoya, a.k.a. Tarkoth. What's up, sir?
Greetings, programs. I am a super happy Square Enix fanboy today.
I bet. We'll get to exactly why a little later, but
yeah,
I know exactly why.
And I the
so
wig
happy
gone.
You shaved. That's
so happy
that's how happy.
You've abandoned the Beard Brothers.
Yes.
The beard.
Someone who hasn't shaved, Mr. Paul Berlin, a.k.a. Flynn. What's up, sir?
Oh, I shave up here.
Yeah. Hey, can I ask, like, both of you guys, right? Like,
yeah.
Because for me, I've always, and if it's too personal to answer, that's fine too. For me, I've always been like, hey, if I start to get, what's up to Cal? If I start to get like a bald spot or like a super receding hairline or anything, I'm just gonna shave the damn thing off. Like why bother with it? Do you guys do it out of style, or are you at that step too, where you're like, yeah, I got a bald spot, time to take it away?
So I had really, really long hair at one point. Like, it was halfway down my back. I shaved it off to a buzz cut, and I think that just scared my hair follicles into disappearing. Give it 3 years, my buddy's going, you're going bald. For you, what are you on about? Obviously not seen the back. Then it just came off, you know what, let's just shave it, and I prefer the look. And gravity kicked in then, and the beard grew.
And it's just started. So you didn't lose your hair, it just sank. That's all.
Very much, because there's a very clear line, and it's just descending downwards.
What about you there, Tark?
I do it more for comfortability.
Yeah.
Well, I used to do it just for comfortability. When I used to live in Phoenix, shaving it in the summer was like, yeah, I don't want to mess with my hair, and it's just.
And it's 240 degrees outside with 97% humidity.
But then, you start to notice, like, oh, there really is like this monkey butt back here. So it just became with age and time.
It is one of the weirdest feelings. You feel the back of your head, and it's just smooth. This does not feel right.
Everywhere else except for there. What's wrong?
I'm not looking forward to it, by the way. Like, I'm not like, hey, let's do this. But like I've always said, like, if I start getting like widow's peaks or a bald spot, like the monk thing going on the crown of my head, then I'm just shaving it off. I'm not looking forward to it though, because I have a really lumpy fucking head. Like, it is not a smooth.
You just can't see it with your
yeah,
you got a nice round shape.
There was one time, I think I was like probably 24 or so, that we were like, my wife and I, we were dirt poor, right? We had no money or anything like that, and so it was like, the wife cuts your hair type deal, and I was getting impatient that like she wasn't cutting it, and so I was like, yeah, fine, I'll just do this, and I throw the clippers on, and I tore a huge gash, like a 2-inch. Get wide, 3-inch long rectangular gash up the back of my head, and because it got caught, it was like, just like all the way through, and I was like, well, fuck it, I'm just gonna have to shave it bald, and I shaved it bald while she wasn't home, and then she came home, and it was freaky, but yeah, like I got a lumpy head, I'm not looking forward to it. Anyway, sidetracked. I just saw 2 bald heads and figured I'd ask. I will definitely at some point, my hair will fall out, and I'll shave it bald. Oh, well. I'll deal with a lumpy head.
Or it won't.
Or it won't. Yeah, that would be nice, right? Like, don't have to worry about it at all. Then my lumpy head can just be my secret and the secret of everybody watching this show.
Yeah, my dad went bald, so I was expecting it with me.
So that's funny, right? Like, wow, we're so sidetracked. It doesn't come from your father. The gene for your hair actually comes from your mother's father. So it's your grandfather on your mother's side that you should look at, dear viewer, if you want to get an idea of what your hair could possibly look like. Again, doesn't mean you're going to take right after them, but that's where that gene comes from. So take a look at the grandfather on your mother's side if you want a little bit of a peek at what will most likely happen to your hairline, if you're a guy. Anyway, that is your gene tip from the Relic Grind.
Yep. Barbershop. First 5 minutes of the Relic Grind.
Exactly. Hey, before we jump into some updated thoughts about Dawntrail, now that we're 2 more weeks removed from it, from our last show, which was a week removed from the expansion launch, let's talk a little bit before we get to that about Final Fantasy, the trading card game. We're here in North America getting ready to wind down the competitive season. We've got a Materia Cup this weekend in Oregon. We've got a few local qualifiers next weekend after that, one of which is one of my home stores. And then the final Materia Cup will be held in Raleigh, North Carolina, the 24th, 25th, whatever that weekend is. I think it's 24, 25. And then that's it. We go right into Nats after that, the North American Championships. There'll be a last chance qualifier the day before, and then Nats. So winding down the competitive season. I still haven't qualified. Neither has Torchwick. Torchwick's actually having a much better season than I am. Last year, I made top 8 cut like 3 or 4 different times and just couldn't finish into the finals to get my invite. This year, Torchwick has made 3 different top 8 cuts, or top cuts, a top 16 at a Materia Cup and 2 top 8. So it's a little bit more his season than mine right now. But, you know, there's always a few more events to qualify. We did get the new set, the Hidden Trials set. And last week, Flynn, because we didn't have a show, you were able to go to your very first Final Fantasy TCG pre-release event.
First event.
How'd it go?
And I decided, let's go in with a sneak peek. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I think there was 26 or 28 of us in the end, because we had awesome. Even numbers. I ended up going 3-6, 3-6. Then it flipped to 6-0, 6-0. So, you know, I did well for my first outing. Just about understanding rules, thanks to you helping me out. Once a Blue Moon, my mate Paul Fallon with the Cymru Cactuars. Pulled some nice stuff. Legends era, Legend, Fallout Hope. And some other bits I can't remember. But it was a really fun format. Like, I enjoy sneak peeks in general, just the chaos of it. It's like, I hope I pull what I can to build something. It's a bit different. Like, I played Digimon. I've done Yu-Gi-Oh! Sneak peeks in the past. It was a bit different because I was saying to you, it's like, I'm not used to a card game where I can attack on turn 1. Yes. If I got someone with haste, I'm hitting you for a point before you have your first turn. And I was baffling. I got really lucky that in all my games, I managed to get 2 haste cards straight out, 2 points of damage. So it was I mean, there's even a card. I mean, it's not necessarily a good card, but there's a 2-cost lightning forward named Roche that not only does it have haste, so you can just chuck it down and get it in there, but if there are no forwards on the field or no characters on the field, I can't remember which off the top of my head. I think it's characters actually. He's free. His cost is reduced by 2. And he's literally made so that if you have him in your opening hand and you go first and there's nobody on board, you can just chuck him down for free and swing. Yeah, if you don't control any characters, the cost is reduced by 2, so he becomes free. It's just such a troll move. You're just like, hey, he's in my opening hand, plop, swing. All right, now go to main 2 and play whatever I want. Yeah, the thing I had to adjust to was playing best of 1 rounds. Because I'm so used to best of 3 and everything else I play. Yeah, Final Fantasy doesn't do BO3 until top cuts. But I'm glad you had fun. Tark, you don't have anybody I've got a
store locally doing it yet.
right now, I'm just happy with my what is it, 2-1 record against you, Neo X Death for the win. So yeah, I'm glad with my
Oh yeah, that's
winning
right.
record.
Yeah, Neo X Death would be entirely too slow in most cases.
Yeah.
Not all,
Yeah.
but in most cases. You still see him occasionally, and he's surprising when you do because he's usually in a build that you're like, oh shit, I can't really do anything about it. Yeah, so enjoying the new set so far. I went to two or three. Yeah, it was three different pre-release events. Took second in one, took first in one, and then like took sixth in one, but all above 500, so I can't complain. Having a lot of fun building with the new set, particularly monsters. Monsters got a lot of love this set, and I like to see that. So enjoying it. If you didn't even know Final Fantasy had a trading card game, you're not alone.
You're not alone.
Final
There was
Fantasy.
even a Kotaku article last week or the week before.
Yeah, there was last week.
Oh yeah, no, everyone should know. Like it was pretty critically acclaimed, right? Queen's Blood, right?
Yeah.
Get
Final
up
Fantasy
naked for the
TCG. Yeah, and Kotaku did an article saying there really needs to be a digital version of this, and all of us
Yes.
players were like, "Yeah, we've been saying that for years." But yeah, so check it out if your local store carries it. If not, check it out online. You know, because I talk about it all the time. I do talk about it all the time. It's fun. Let's talk about Dawntrail. Let's continue talk with you. We'll start with thoughts now. Have you finished MSQ? Because I think you had finished it when we talked 2 weeks ago, didn't you? Okay.
I not only did I finish MQ, I was like BIS on everything. So I had done all the content. And it was a lot of fun. I was doing
And now
great.
we have Savage and all
Yes.
that fun stuff. Where are you with Dawntrail now that we basically have what we're gonna have until 7-1?
Yeah. Doing good. We're working on Savage. I know that this tier was cleared in a record time.
Yeah.
It's like absolutely bonkers.
And first and second
speeds?
were separated by seconds too.
Seconds. Yeah, like sub 5 hours, like around the 4-hour mark, just to clear the whole tier. And I'm like, that's just redonkulous. But we've cleared the first fight. We should be clearing the second fight tonight. That's standard for my group. We're kind of mid-core. We're not, balls to the wall. So, but we're doing good. It's fun. Good fights.
Flynn, where you at? What are you thinking?
I've spent most of my time since the last show crafting because we had crafting set come out, so that's been on my time. One of my raiding buddies is still going through the MSQ. He is 64 out of 100 quests in due to a family holiday. So the rest of us and another friend of ours, we're going into EX1 on Sunday just to shake off the rust. So when this buddy's done, we can hop into Savage, our gears prepped, food's prepped, pots prepped.
Look at that. There's still free companies and guilds that are like, we'll wait for you. We'll wait for you. How wholesome. You don't see that in MMOs.
Well, it's very much what my
feel warm
FCS
in
is
the belly.
friends and friends of friends.
Gives you
So
all the
it's
warm
really chill.
fuzzies. The warm fuzzies.
Complete contrast to what is that Party Finder, where it's just toxicity and
Twitter has
vile
been
poison
hilarious
and-
for Party Finder.
Right.
Just shouting like, there's too many strats. We can't decide. Just do one. Screw your content creators and your money.
That's why I kind of like my group. Like, we don't look at Party Finder strats. We don't look at videos until we do at least one night blind. And we've gotten through both the fights pretty much with our own strats, and we're making it work for ourselves. So, yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. I still didn't like the story. Like, I know it gets better and starts to pick up the pace a little bit, about midway through the 90, like around 95, 96. And people told me, hey, it gets better right around there and it starts picking up the pace. And it does. But the story of Dawntrail just doesn't do it for me yet at all. I find it slow. I find it somewhat repetitive in a lot of areas. It's entirely predictable with maybe two very minor exceptions. Again, that's not that it's bad, but it's just kind of, it is, I guess the best way to say it is, for me, it is skippable MMO quests. Like, that's the first time that I've felt that way about the MSQ for Final Fantasy XIV.
Interesting.
I always kind of wanted to know what is the next segment going to look like. And here I'm just kind of like, all right, whenever 6.1 comes, okay. I'm not overly keen on it. I don't give it the vitriol that a lot of other people do. I'm just kind of, I think the mixed rating for the expansion that we talked about on the last show that it was receiving, I think it's perfectly valid. I don't hold grudges against anybody who really, really didn't like it or was really, really disappointed by it. I'm not disappointed by it. It just didn't captivate me. It didn't grab me. We kind of expected that coming into this because we're setting up a whole new story and a whole new arc and a whole new world, or region of the world, I should say. But yeah, I think maybe slightly disappointed would be fair. Go ahead, Tark.
I mean, that's why I said last time, like, I had to bring my expectation bar down, because after 10 years and an end of a saga, and we'd been through so much crap, and getting to the end of everything that story entailed, you have to kind of do a reset. You have to not just reset, what's going on with the story, but you got to reset your own expectations, in my opinion. And I feel that's why I maybe accepted it more. But yeah, it's middle of the road. It's not great. But the content's
to Callan chat saying it's Final Fantasy XIV, you know exactly what it is. I would agree with you on like the dungeons, the trials and stuff. They are, they're straight lines, they are fun fights, there's interesting mechanics, the things that I wish they would improve still need to be improved. The things that they do really well, they're still doing those really well. And in that regard, yeah, it's Final Fantasy XIV, you know exactly what it is. I think when you start looking at the story, I don't think Dawntrail's initial .0 foray into the expansion, I don't think it is what Final Fantasy XIV players en masse expected. Maybe like us, many of them were prepped for a bit of a slower arc, maybe a lot more development of entirely new characters that we haven't had to go through since A Realm Reborn originally launched. I think that the story doesn't fall into that it's 14, you know what it is bucket. I think it is a little less than what you would normally expect for a story, whether you saw that coming like we did or not, Flynn.
Yeah. It felt very much like a Stormblood 2. There was a lot of feelings that are going for the story. It's like, this is Stormblood, but not as well written as Stormblood in a lot of ways.
I love the dungeons, though.
Oh, yeah. The dungeons were really fun, but the biggest thing they did right across the exploration this time around is not making you wait 5 story levels to finish the first 2 zones. That felt so good, but like I said, the early petition when we was getting the builders said, we're going to be done with this succession super quick in the grand scheme of things, and it really feels like they needed the .x patches of Endwalker to really do some of this build-up.
Yeah,
but I also
as much as I love the Golbez stuff, which I did, I absolutely loved the Golbez and the Forfine stuff. It was phenomenal.
So good.
I do feel like maybe that should have been, .2, .3, and then .4, .5. Start the Wuk-Lamat stuff, and let's burn some of that going into the expansion. Although then, it's like, where do you leave that story for, almost, 6-7 months before Dawntrail after 6.5 comes out? Like, where is now that you've played the whole story, is there a point that you're like, yeah, they could have stopped here and then made people wait for 7 months? There really isn't a good period, at least to me, in the main story for it, where I would have been like, where I would have even cared or remembered what happened 7 or 8 months down the road.
I do feel like we are missing Nishikawa's writing style as well.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's been the big thing with how the story is written, is like you can definitely feel their absence this time around. And they did Kryl dirty.
Yeah, they really did.
Like, everything was leading up to Kryl sort of being the main character with all of her reveals, and they all happened off screen. All the big reveals for it happened off screen when we are not part of it.
Yeah. Moonfire Fair starts today. Rewards.
You know why, May? You know why, May?
Meh.
No
Yeah.
mount, no minion.
No minion.
No minion.
No minion.
Yeah.
No minion.
Just a
no
It's an
tabletop
emote,
item
so you
and
can
an
go,
emote.
Wasu, and that's
It's an
about it.
emote, though.
Yep. Starts today, runs through August 28th. So if you want to get your new emote, I do kind of like the tabletop item though, like the bouncing bombs, the bomb
More
balloons. Yeah, they bounce on the tabletop if you're watching it. It's I don't know, it's stupid cute. I love it.
I'll grab it. I won't read the story, but I'll grab them.
I love it. I love it.
I have been skipping more and more seasonal stories as we get the same.
Unless
repetitive
it's
stuff
like
over and over.
a crossover or the Rising, I've been skipping for.
Rising. I always look at Rising. I always read, but
Yeah, and then this past Rising was like, oh, okay, all right. Gamescom 2024. There's actually a lot going on from the 14 team. Now, whether it's stuff that, you know, your average player cares about, that's another story altogether. But if you are at Gamescom, there is plenty of stuff to do, including, let's open a sore wound here for Tark and
Jesus
show
Christ.
off.
yeah.
Show off the Battle Challenge shirt.
God damn it.
still a little bitter from
I'm just
that
looking at
fan fest,
Tarkov, and in my mind, I've got, hello, darkness, my old friend.
Can someone just get one and send it to me so I can stop talking about it? I have one. I just want one. Crying out loud. Can't give it to me at a damn fan fest.
There's going to be a little new player area, so if you're new to the game, you can, or you're looking for friends that are new to the game, you can head over there and meet some people. They're going to have stage programs that you can take part in as well, including Extreme Roulette, raids, dungeon runs, all that stuff. And then Yoshi P is going to be on stage for a number of these things. He'll have show matches against Vargamanda. He'll be there for the trial roulettes. There's going to be a signing session. So again, like all this really cool stuff if you're there, but not a ton of news coming out of
Not even a live
Gamescom.
letter.
Yeah, there's no live letter. There's going to be a panel on localization. So if like you're interested in that type of stuff, that's obviously very cool. There's going to be some PvP stuff on stage. But this is Square Enix Final Fantasy XIV outing that is like 100% geared towards the live crowd at Gamescom. There's not going to be too much coming out of this. That's the weekend of the Wednesday the 21st all the way through Sunday the 25th. Yeah. So I mean, if you're going to be at Gamescom and you're a 14 fan, plenty of cool stuff there. If you're waiting for news from Gamescom, I wouldn't hold your breath. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot coming out. Maybe we'll get some surprise, Tark. I don't know. I doubt it.
I mean, I do like the title of one of the panels. Why are you or your friends not playing 14?
It's because they don't know how to sign up, but we fixed that a couple of shows back.
All right. So an interesting rumor popped up this past week that Square Enix has partnered with Tencent, massive Chinese game conglomerate. You've likely heard of them, and if you haven't, they have a finger in probably any game you're playing late these days. Have inked a deal to bring Final Fantasy XIV to mobile devices, to your cell phone. Now, this was originally reported by Nico Partners. They listed several games and franchises that have recently been approved by the Chinese government for release in China, and the Final Fantasy XIV mobile version was among those approved. So it's likely that this is more apt to be something we will hear about soon than something like the NVIDIA leaks, right? Where you may not hear about something in them for years, FF9 remake, because it's a leak. This isn't technically a leak, I guess. It's a list of franchises. It could mean that they've just, hey, we want to do this in the future. Development may have started on this a year ago, 2 years ago. It may not have started at all yet, but they want to do it. There's just a deal in place. But, 14 on a mobile device, as you know it on your PC and console, Tark. That is that's a big ask. That's a big ask. Might I say an impossible ask. So to me, this seems like we're more likely to get something in the universe of Final Fantasy XIV.
Because
if I had
what
to guess,
everyone's asking for is a Final Fantasy XIV gotcha, maybe in the vein of like Genshin, huh? You know, you roam around and we gotcha your characters and get the like, fancy weapons. We got a whole bunch of weapons that are glowy. You know, we could do that. I'm not. This is no. I like mobile games. I play some. I'm not interested in this. I played the real game.
You don't even want to see what it is.
No.
Like,
no, I really don't care. Really don't.
and again, like, just because they have a name up for approval, Flynn, doesn't necessarily mean that they are actively making something right this minute.
Yeah.
This could just be we signed a deal and maybe we'll start development 6 months from now. We're just getting basic approvals. I mean, I can't imagine it'd be a mobile port. There's just no way that's possible.
To my brain, I reckon he'd probably go more to a cloud-delivered version of 14. Because
I still think that's
Asian markets, they love, you know.
Let me just say that I have gone through the pain in the ass that it is to get the Final Fantasy XIV to run on a Steam Deck just to see what it would be like to play on no. And I certainly don't want to play it on my phone if it performs. It's not that the game performed poorly. It's just uncomfortable to play. You know, there's so much going on the screen. Most MMOs are uncomfortable to play on something like the Steam Deck and mobile, unless they're MMOs that were specifically made for mobile as one of their launch platforms. But then usually they have more streamlined, simplified user interfaces, and they feel shallow to me on the PC side of things. I mean, if it's like an interesting little side story, like a Y'shtola's adventure or something, I could check it out. I could be all right with checking it out.
There's definitely plenty of stories in the world they can do.
What's that, Flynn?
Definitely plenty of stories in the game world they can do.
Go ahead, Tark.
Yeah, and then play your stories, and hopefully when you have your 20 free pulls, you get that SSR drop, whatever it is. Go get it, or drop some money, get more pulls.
Go get it. Go get it.
Drop your wallet.
I'll tell you what I would drop my wallet on.
No comment.
I would absolutely drop my wallet on this. A Final Fantasy XIV animation. And we had kind of like a rumor of one of these a while ago that never came to fruition. They couldn't sell it, remember? The live action one, and then they said, well, why not do that as an animation? They said it's just going to work as an animation. So what I'm showing you here was actually an animation video that aired during the Final Fantasy XIV Fan Fest in China. And kind of like a little side questy, amusing little series of events in the video there. Absolutely.
Oh, no, this video's the Korean one, isn't it? From a couple of years back.
Yes, it is.
No.
Yes.
If you go to watch it on YouTube, it's from 3 years ago.
Yes. But it just aired again at the Chinese fan festival.
They've done
it. They redid it. Okay.
Yeah. But
yeah.
Even back then, it's like, yes, make
this makes me want it. This was the video I'm showing is the 2001 or 2021 one. That was for the Korean market, and got me a little hyped. Then there is another video that has been shown at the Chinese Fan Fest. I apologize. Yeah, this video is from back. I don't have the Chinese one, but I do want one of them.
So, absolutely,
I do want one.
We have a beautiful game world. We have a lot of stories that get mentioned in side stories. We really have some anime.
I think the reason you can't have this is just like the card game. They would put any sort of profits or anything in that little sub thing called miscellaneous, and it's just like forgotten.
Yes. If you are interested, by the way, in the video that was actually shown at the Chinese one, you can get that one on billybilly.com. I was not able to pull that one to show it here, so I grabbed the old animation for the B-roll footage. But we're talking about a new one that aired there. You can get it on billybilly.com, billi.com. And it's beautiful, too.
Yeah.
How has this not happened? Like, it's such a big franchise that how do we not have it? Like, the only thing we've had is Dad of Light. Dad of Light was amazing, by the way. I loved it. It was horribly cheesy in many regards, but I absolutely loved the cheese factor. But that's really like the only thing outside of the game that we've received that wasn't compendium stuff for the game, Tark. The Encyclopedia Eorzeas, the stuff like that. Like, we don't get any of the the really cool.
Literally this.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, the local qualifier I was at last week had that at their store, and I almost picked it up, but I did not. I'm regretting it. I should have.
But have you seen the fancy version we're getting next year? I think we talked about it on the show, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It looks fancy.
I mean, even like even the manga
I
was.
just need the book. I only need the book. I don't need the golden dice.
Like we do have there was that manga that was like a kind of like a Alice
the
high school
one.
thing. Yeah. What was it? Eorzea Academy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we had that one, but that was. I want a 14 show. I'm sad that it got canceled now.
The fact that we haven't had one just for Final Fantasy in general, there's so much history and stuff they could do with that.
We've had a few Final Fantasy animes, man.
Oh, we've had a few, yeah. We've also had a few movies. They don't generally do well. Yeah. Some better than others. I really, really like Kingsglaive, but I know a lot of people did not like that movie. I absolutely love it. Kingsglaive. I sit there grinning like an idiot while I'm watching that. Advent Children as well.
The Academy Award-winning Spirits Within, right? I mean,
I still enjoy Spirits Within.
Yeah. Spirits Within is kind of like a weird sci-fi that I like. It's just like, why is the Final Fantasy name on this? Is the question. Exactly. Like, it doesn't belong here.
Yeah, there's a character named Sid. Arky wears pajamas with a chocobo on it.
Right.
Wears the rest of the references.
Right. Yeah. Now let's go underwater and get chased by phantoms. Well, I mean, it did have amazing graphic potential at the time, right? And speaking of graphics, 14 got its own graphics update, but not everything's great. We talked in our initial Dawntrail opinions about how it's beautiful. Like most of it is absolutely gorgeous. There are a couple of derpy looking faces though, Tark.
You're looking at my derpy little face?
Oh, yeah, I just put it all up there, right by, all alone.
Derpy.
All up in there.
Hey, my Warrior of Light looks choice, okay? The horns got a nice special gleam to them. All the gear looks absolutely fantastic. And the lighting effects during rainstorms, and it's just awesome. So I'm enjoying all of it. So I haven't really seen these shenanigans with this facial stuff.
Oh,
well... Okay, so if you're, there are some. If you play Aura and Makote character faces, some of them are a little rough. They're causing a little bit of trouble with the lighting engine in 7.0. Thancred looks weird compared to the other Scions. He does look a little weird. Weird enough and gotten feedback enough that the team has acknowledged that this is an issue, some of the faces, saying, "We would like to thank everyone for their feedback regarding the graphical update. The development team has been carefully reviewing this thread on the official forums and many others, including bug reports and concerns raised outside of the official forums. We are currently working on an update based on the feedback provided, as well as preparing to share details about our planned course of action. As these are undergoing thorough final inspections, we expect to make an announcement in late August." So you still have a couple more weeks of working with these with these kind of goofy faces in some
I
spots.
sent one in chat for Tark.
Yeah, there's one in chat if Tark doesn't know what we're talking about. That is absolute goober right there. That it's so freaky that it's not even funny.
I did see one. Are you guys familiar with the claymation game Helix?
Oh, yeah.
There's a face I saw. Now, the only way to describe it, it was the main character from Helix. Their face was just so distorted.
That's disturbing.
Yeah, right? Yeah. So you've got to deal with it for a few more weeks, but the team has heard you. They are working on something.
Yeah, well,
but for the most part, the graphics update
distorted as much as they can.
For the most part, the graphics update is beautiful. Yeah, Takal, that person has seen some shit. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So much so that he can't not unsee it.
Right. My eyelids don't work anymore. Let's head over to some other Square Enix news. Square Enix, the company's second quarter financials have been released, their consolidated financial report. This is the one that just kind of provides the high-level summary of some things. Obviously, I think many of us didn't really expect a ton of good news from this report, right? They had announced the cancellation of multiple projects and losses in the millions when they did their recognition of extraordinary losses back in April. And April is the beginning of the second quarter of the year. It's actually Q1 2025, the way Square Enix does their personal financial calendar as a company. But I'm going to keep referring to it as second quarter, meaning the second quarter of this year. So that'd be April, May, and June, quarter ending June 30th. So I don't think many expected them to do particularly well, given that those write-offs happened in this quarter. And they really didn't have many releases that were, hey, man, that's really going to carry you. And so when you look at year over year, things get a little weird here. Because Square sold fewer games.
Yes.
Period. Unequivocally.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Granted, comparing this year to last year may not be all that fair, right? Second quarter of last year was the quarter that Final Fantasy XVI was released. It was released closer to the end of the quarter, but those first couple of weeks are going to be the bulk of your oomph of sales anyway. So most of 16's initial couple of weeks of launch were in that report. You really didn't have any. The Pixel remaster stuff came out that same quarter last year. So there were things last year that were going to move some units. Second quarter this year really didn't have anything. Not that they didn't release anything, but they were all smaller, likely to move a few 100,000, but not in the millions of units. And so their sales came in at a little over $477 million, but that's down 18% compared to Q2 of last year. Like I said, maybe a little bit of an unfair comparison, but a comparison nonetheless. If you look at just the digital entertainment division, the video games, right? The video games, that department is down by just shy of 30%, selling $299 million. However, the profits for the company are up year over year, over 68%. So they sold far fewer games, far fewer products, but made more money. Now, a big part of that, again, if we're going to say that Final Fantasy XVI being in the same quarter last year makes this a little unfair, we'll also say that Final Fantasy XVI being in that quarter last year makes this a little unfair here as well, because the marketing budget for 16 was massive.
Yeah,
massive.
Such overdrive in marketing that game.
Yeah, and so there was marketing expenses and additional expenses, HR expenses that they just didn't have in this quarter. They also had layoffs in May of this quarter too. So there's all kinds of staffing expenses cut. So while they're selling fewer things, they're also spending less. And so thus their profits are up. It's not exactly the best way to do it, but it does it. I have a question, though.
Sure.
The yearly outlook has not really changed for them based on the way this report came out. Dawntrail, not a factor in this report. In fact, MMOs as a division was up a little bit, but we'll really see the impact of Dawntrail in the next quarter because officially that was July 2nd, right? So we'll really see a Dawntrail impact then and see where it goes. But pre-orders were in. Some of the pre-orders and stuff would have been in for this financial report. The outlook hasn't changed. And in looking at the release schedule and what's coming out, Tark, where do you see this going?
It's not a lot out there. I mean, I just scheduled to give them some money for October, but not a lot out there. So I'm not sure if it's just kind of steadying the ship to, get things right. That's where things are headed. I'm hopeful Vision of Mana maybe blows the door off of and is a surprise title for Square. But yeah, not a lot to look forward to for the rest of this year.
Yeah, I did see one headline on this, by the way, that I was like, come on, guys. And it was from Eurogamer. Their headline was Square Enix sales drop year on year despite the release of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And while I'll admit Final Fantasy VII Rebirth's financial performance has kind of been obfuscated by Square, it's kind of hard, Flynn, to tell like how well or how not well that game did. Rebirth came out in February.
Yeah, that was the previous quarter.
That's not an impact on
previous
this
year.
Quarter. For them, Rebirth came out in February. That means it has all of the remaining week and a half or week of February and all of March for Rebirth sales. That would have been reported in the last quarter financial reports for Square. And yes, I'm sure they're still selling copies, and some of the revenue in this quarter is attributable to Rebirth. But the bulk of the initial Rebirth sales would have been in the first quarter report. So saying that, hey, they're up or they're dropped year over year despite releasing Rebirth this year, this is not a year over year full year comparison. This is quarter 2 of this year compared to quarter 2 of last year. That headline would only be correct if this were a 6-month snapshot compared to a 6-month snapshot of last year, which it's not, and they clearly knew this based on their first sentence. Sales of Square Enix games have dropped compared to last year, despite the high-profile release of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. According to its latest earnings report, the company's overall net sales dropped by 18.4% year-on-year for the most recent quarter. So they clearly understood the financial window they were looking at, but just wanted to, I don't know, bash Rebirth.
Clickbait. Be clickbait.
Yeah. It was absolute clickbait,
Yeah. Or calendars are hard for them. So take your pick.
Yes.
I
commented on it. I commented on it. I was nice. I just said, hey, Rebirth doesn't have anything to do with this. This is April, May, and June of 2024. Rebirth was in February. Yeah, it was at the end of February, but all of March was still in the Q1 report too. So anyway.
I am wondering if their projected output is going to come down to us getting a potential teaser over the weekend for Disney's 23 Expo. Because it was meant to have a bigger focus on video games this year. So we might see Kingdom Hearts.
Maybe. Yeah, but still, that's not going to impact their 2024, their financial 2025 calendar. Like, that's not coming out anytime soon. I can't imagine them announcing and being like, oh, it's coming 6 months.
Mana and Red Quest 1 to 3.
Right, which those aren't going to sell, tons of units. They'll do well enough for what they are, but they're not going to, they're not going to move 16 million units or anything like that. We only have.
They won't, but their expectations will be that they sell 16 million.
Yeah, probably. Like looking at the rest of the year, so we had Foam Stars in February, Rebirth February 29th, April 25th, Saga Emerald. August is Visions of Mana. October 24th is Romancing Saga 2. Both of those games I'm going to buy. November 14th is the Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake. I'm going to buy that too.
Yep.
Sometime in the fourth quarter is Fantasian Neo Dimension on platforms that aren't Apple. I'm definitely going to check that out too.
Oh, yeah.
And then we're off into 2025 for Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D remake, unless they announce something else in the meantime. We still know that they're working on a Dragon Quest 12 and a Kingdom Hearts 4, but we don't have any info on those products as far as release dates. We don't expect either of them anytime soon. That's looking like a pretty bleak year. Like the only thing that even remotely says, okay, they could probably do pretty well here is the continued rumor of a Final Fantasy IX remake and Final Fantasy XVI PC release, which just showed up again in the NVIDIA drivers. So it seems like an announcement of that one at least could be very imminent, Tark.
It's open.
Because this isn't a leak, right? This is in the NVIDIA driver package that 16 shows up.
Yeah, so it's coming. Hopefully we get a date soon. I know a lot of people that have just been waiting for this. They don't care about the console versions. They just want PC. So hopefully it comes soon. And God, I hope that it's optimized for PC because we do not need another bad port from Square.
It's really weird looking at their calendar, Flynn, and going, yeah, the most unit moving thing that you have on the docket that we know about that will make it or should make it at least by the end of the year is a PC port of a game that came out a year ago.
Yeah.
Bare bones.
I am wondering what they've got cooking in the background now.
I mean, there's got to be an announcement of something coming from them soon. There has to be, right?
They don't usually do announcements and like, oh, by the way, it's going to be out in 3 months.
Yeah, that's like Nintendo's thing, right?
But
Nintendo goes into the Nintendo Direct and they give you a
strategies, right?
Nintendo Direct gives you a trailer and then they're like, hey, it's available now, or it's going to be available next month. That's really not Square Enix's MMO. In fact, just to further prove that point, Square Enix announced today that Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster, the 1 through 6 collection, will have another physical edition run with a sticker sheet inside it for the PlayStation 4 and the Nintendo Switch. Pre-orders are available now. October 8th is the release. So 2 months from now, they're announcing 2 months ahead of time another physical run of Pixel Remaster. Tark, I know that made you insanely happy. You immediately went and got on it this time because it did the story didn't fall at 2 a.m.
It did fall at 2 a.m.
with 8 copies for sale.
8 copies for sale. Lord, that was so horrible. I was so pissed. I was so pissed about that. That I refused. I only bought one Final Fantasy IV from Steam. It was like, I'm gonna buy it on console. We all knew it was coming to console, and I just got it on Steam because I wanted to play it for Ready Check Radio. And then that whole fiasco, dropping it in the dead of night on Twitter. Only 8 copies, maybe 9 on each platform. And I didn't want to buy digital. Like I'm a physical person. I like the physical. And that was the only way I was going to purchase these set of games again is if I got a physical disc so that I can like, oh, okay, now I can, put away these other ones. I have a newer version. So I am so stoked. As soon as Flynn showed me that link, I was like, no, and done. Okay, I'm good.
I saw it. It's like, right, they're scared the link that doesn't have the 500 extra words from Facebook. Tarkov, you click it fast.
Yeah, I mean, we said it from the time that this was announced that the Pixel Masters originally, the digital only, they were announced. We were like, how is this not on Switch? Like this, that's the system this was made for, was to take these on the go and Switch. I'm a little bummed that it didn't come out for PlayStation 5. It's a PS4 physical edition, but I wouldn't, if given the choice, I would be buying it on the Switch anyway, and you do have that choice. So there you go.
It's funny, my buddy was traveling. He picked up the English Asian version while he was over in Thailand at the time, I think it was.
Are long-ass RPGs really on-the-go type of games? Yes. Well, these classic ones are because of the way the save systems worked, yes.
The save systems, and they're really not long-ass RPGs. At least not this, 1 through 6.
Yeah,
Like,
it
you
was
can
on
get
the
through
Game
4
Boy.
in like 20 plus hours, so it's really not that long.
Yeah, the way the save systems worked on most of them allows them to be on-the-go type games, absolutely. I did not buy one. I don't think I'm going to. As much as I wouldn't mind having a physical copy, I'm just kind of like, I don't know when I would play them. Like, I have the cartridges. Like, if I really want to, I'm going to whip them out and just play them that way. And I know the pixel remasters are very well done. Like, everybody's been very complimentary of them. I'm not bashing them at all. I just don't feel like paying again for something I already have. Like, I'll just play the originals. Those are the ones that I have the nostalgia. Those are the ones that I have the nostalgia for anyway. Are the originals.
So you're gonna whip out your Nintendo Entertainment System and plug in that cartridge, and
they're all in the living room
batteries
anyway.
Alive.
Oh yeah, they're all in the, and I can replace the batteries. That's no big deal. I have all the tools to open, and I've been repairing consoles and stuff for people for decades now. No big deal. No big deal. Did you guys play the Visions of Mana demo, by the way?
No, I keep meaning to download it and forgetting.
I'm downloading it right now. I'm gonna play it this weekend. It's gonna be awesome.
Right. We'll chime in next week with how we feel about the Visions of Mana demo. Let's head over and do Love It or Leave It. Love it or leave it is the way we end every episode of the Relic Grind here. It's where I give you something Square Enix related. Could be a game, could be a feature in a game, could be a press release, something they did or said. And you tell me whether you love it, want more of it, or leave it, never to be seen again. No fence sitting here. And I told you on the last show that we would follow up with the same one that we did then, because there was still stuff that all of us had to work through and finish MSQs and do trials and savages and everything. But now that, the .0 is basically done, we'll have a few minor additions and changes before .1, but .0 is basically done. Dawntrail, Flynn, love it or leave it?
I'm still in the love it category.
That's all you got?
That's it. Yeah. He's done.
That's it. Tark, what do you got?
So I really think you got to separate the content, like the dungeons and the raids and the trials, from the story. The story, you get through and it's done. It's the content that you keep playing over and over. For me, I'm going to say love it because the content has held me. I set my bar lower.
Yeah.
And the content has come above that bar. So I'm loving what we're playing so far. I hope the only thing that's really bugging me regarding the story is that there's no threads to pull on for like, hey, this is going on. I expected there to be like, meanwhile in Garlemald. No, there's really not.
I mean, it doesn't even really end on a cliffhanger. Like there's
It's more subtle with the threads.
It's God. I think you're reading way too much into it, Flynn. You're trying to find threads.
Has them symbol on it.
I know. Yeah. Oh, so subtle.
Titan is probably inspired by the giants.
Subtle. So subtle.
There's plenty there.
I'm gonna leave it. That's not to say that I don't like it, and I'm gonna unsub, and we're gonna cancel the show and everything. I enjoy it, but it was the first expansion run that I and I agree with you, Tark. The repetition stuff, I'm totally fine with it. Like I'm gonna be doing my tombstone runs and my dungeons and my trials and my savages. Like that content is good, and yeah, I'll keep my sub and keep doing those types of things like I do in every patch. But looking at the .0 as a whole, as an expansion, I think I got to leave it because there were honestly times running through this, and I still have other stuff to do. Viper, I haven't messed with Viper at all yet, so there's stuff for me to do. But running through this was the first expansion where there were nights here that I was like, you know what, I should probably burn a few more levels to get through the MSQ. I got a show or, whatever. And I was just like, I don't feel like playing that right now. Like, and this is the first expansion where I had that feeling where I was like, I'd rather play something else tonight. Yeah, so I'm going to give it a leave it. I'm going to give it a leave it.
I know what it was. It was that black mage, red mage bias. Picto was the new hotness, and it was slapping the DPS meters, and you just couldn't handle it.
Black mages have been hurt a little bit, and even Square acknowledged that. So you shut up. They're gonna fix it. They acknowledged that they screwed us over a little bit. That's going to do it for all of us here today on the Relic Grind. Thank you so much for hanging out. We'll be back next week with another episode. But don't go anywhere. After the show here, we've got Faye coming in on the stream. What's up, Faye?
What up?
You're like in a dark and mysterious place today.
I am. It's because the lighting can't figure out what it's gonna do. I don't have curtains on my windows next to me, and it's just a very weird time of year to try and balance the lighting situation. So it'll improve as the evening goes on. That's the good news.
We're headed back into Baldur's Gate 3 for some more. Where are we at now?
We are in the thick of a lot of sticky, mucusy stuff.
That is not a sentence I expected.
I know, right? Yeah, I like to keep it fresh. We are at the depths of Down the Tower in Moonrise, so exciting things are coming. We might have to restart a few times. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. It's just burning down around us with mucus. Don't worry, it'll be fine.
Fresh. We keep it fresh here.
Yeah.
We keep the mucus fresh here.
We do.
On Ready Check Radio. Don't go anywhere, chat. Give us 2 minutes to relabel some things, and we'll bring the channel back up for Faye. Until next week, Flynn, where can everybody find you?
You can find me actually get my streams back up and going properly over on Twitch, up with Vin Crisis. Find me over on X at Flynn_Lowlight or with Vin Crisis. I have just finished up Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth after 150 plus hours, and
wow,
I don't know what to do with myself anymore. That game was so good.
Was he just like name dropping? Is that what happened there? He was like,
kind of.
Tark.
Damn, that's correct. Twitch YouTube, Tarkoth Gaming. Currently playing Final Fantasy XIV most days of the week. A little bit of Demon Souls on Ultimate Adventure Mondays, and then Saturday nights here on Ready Check Radio. We're still playing 80s. Maybe I'll defeat him one day. We'll see.
Maybe. I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me right there at Magic Man 1, but more importantly, follow at RC Radio, RAIDEO, and you'll know every time we're going live with a podcast, one of our awesome streamers playing their games, or we're playing some Final Fantasy trading card game on Monday nights at live local gameplay here in Pittsburgh. Until next time, stay safe. We'll see you on the servers.